It's the middle of the day, and the sun is disappearing. Birds fall silent, the temperature drops. The sky turns an eerie twilight gray. People across an ancient village drop what they're doing and stare upward, terrified. Some scream, some fall to their knees, some simply run. For a few terrifying minutes, day has turned into night. Today, we know exactly why this happens. The moon simply passes in front of the sun. But for most of human history, no one knew that. So they came up with their own explanations, some beautiful, some horrifying. Dragons, demons, wolves, vengeful gods. This is what ancient humans truly believed was happening above their heads. In ancient China, the sun suddenly dimming meant only one horrifying thing. A massive celestial dragon was devouring the sun whole. Villagers dropped their tools and rushed toward pots, pans, and drums. They banged them together as loudly and violently as they could. The noise, they believed, would frighten the dragon into spitting the sun back out. Archers even shot flaming arrows into the sky to scare it away. Astonishingly, the sun always did reappear a few minutes later. To the villagers, their desperate noise had clearly worked every single time. This belief was so powerful it shaped Chinese royal court traditions for centuries. Court astronomers who failed to predict an eclipse could even be executed. Far to the north, Viking villagers told a very different story. Two enormous wolves, Hjol and Hati, chased the sun and moon endlessly across the sky. Most days, the sun stayed just barely out of their reach. But during an eclipse, Norse people believed one wolf had finally caught it. Skjold was devouring the sun in a single, terrifying bite. Panic spread instantly through Norse villages the moment the sky darkened. People shouted and banged weapons together, desperate to scare the wolf away. Some believed this moment was a small preview of Ragnarok, the end of the world. When the sun reappeared, relief swept through the entire village. The wolf had been driven off, but everyone knew it would try again. In ancient India, the story behind an eclipse was one of betrayal and revenge. According to legend, a demon named Rahu once disguised himself as a god. He snuck a taste of the god's sacred nectar of immortality. The sun and moon spotted him and immediately alerted the god Vishnu. Furious, Vishnu sliced off Rahu's head before the nectar could fully take effect, but the head had already become immortal, and it never forgot. To this day, Rahu's floating head chases the sun and moon across the sky. When he finally catches one, he swallows it in a fit of revenge. But since he has no body, the sun simply falls back out moments later. This is why, in Hindu tradition, an eclipse always ends the exact same way. Across the ocean, Native American nations had their own vivid explanations. The Choctaw people believed a giant black squirrel was to blame. This mischievous celestial squirrel liked to gnaw hungrily at the sun. Villagers would shout, sing, and make noise to scare the squirrel away. Some tribes even fired arrows toward the sky to drive it off. Other nations told entirely different stories about the vanishing sun. Some believed the sun and moon were fighting a fierce celestial battle. Others believed the sun was simply unwell and needed encouragement to recover. Communities often came together to sing and pray until daylight returned. Each culture found its own way to explain and endure the darkness. In several African cultures, an eclipse told a story of cosmic conflict. Some Batamalaba people in West Africa believed the sun and moon were fighting. This fight, they believed, was a reflection of anger among the people below. Communities responded by setting aside grudges and settling arguments quickly. Making peace with one another, they believed, would calm the sky above. Remarkably, the sun always did return once tempers had cooled. In other regions, the darkness was seen as a warning from the ancestors. Elders would gather the community to reflect and offer quiet prayers. The eclipse became less a disaster and more a moment of unity, a shared moment of fear that, in the end, brought people closer together. In ancient Babylon, an eclipse wasn't just frightening, it was deeply political. Babylonian astronomers had begun carefully tracking the movements of the sky. Over centuries, they noticed eclipses followed a predictable, repeating pattern. They believed an eclipse was a powerful omen aimed directly at the king. To protect the true king from potential disaster, a clever ritual was devised. A temporary substitute king was placed on the throne during the eclipse. This poor stand-in would absorb any bad fortune meant for the ruler. Once the danger had passed, the substitute was quietly removed from power. Meanwhile, the real king waited safely out of sight until it was over. This eclipse prediction skill made Babylonian astronomers famous across the ancient world. In ancient Greece, most people still viewed eclipses with superstition and fear. But one philosopher named Thales challenged that fear with careful observation. Around 585 BC, he reportedly predicted a solar eclipse in advance. His prediction stunned people who assumed only gods could control such events. Later, the philosopher Anaxagoras proposed something even more radical. He suggested the moon itself was simply blocking the light of the sun. This idea directly challenged centuries of religious and mythical explanation. Many people at the time found the theory shocking, even dangerous to say aloud. Anaxagoras was eventually exiled, partly for these very ideas. Still, a scientific seed had been planted that would slowly grow. Centuries later, medieval Europe still viewed eclipses as terrifying omens. Chroniclers linked eclipses to plagues, wars, and the deaths of kings. When King Henry I of England died shortly after an eclipse, panic spread. Many believed the darkened sun had clearly predicted his downfall. Church bells rang out across villages, and prayers were hastily offered. Some believed the eclipse was a direct warning from God himself. Scholars and monks recorded these events carefully in ancient manuscripts. Yet, slowly, astronomers were quietly mapping the sky's true patterns. Their careful calculations were beginning to explain what once seemed impossible. The age of myth was slowly giving way to the age of science. Eventually, astronomers fully understood what was truly happening above. The moon simply passes directly between the Earth and the sun. Its shadow briefly sweeps across our planet's surface, darkening the sky. No dragons, no demons, no wolves, just simple, elegant orbital mechanics. Yet even with this knowledge, the awe of an eclipse never faded. Millions still travel across the world just to witness one firsthand. For a few fleeting minutes, day still transforms into eerie twilight, and for a moment, modern humans feel that same ancient wonder. The myths may be gone, but the emotion behind them never really left. Perhaps that's why, thousands of years later, we still can't look away.